Hello everybody, this is Albert with Green Tea House. I hope you're doing well today. Today we're going to start a series on tisanes, otherwise known as herbals and roots, to talk about which of these you should drink when you're having a particular ailment. In this episode, the first installment will be on colds, flu, sore throats. Now before we begin, I highly recommend you check out our back catalog of episodes. I'll put some that are important or germane to this topic up there later in this episode. We've talked about before the health benefits of tea. Now remember, tisanes are not tea. Tea, by its strictest definition, are only drinks or beverages that come from the Camellia sinensis plant. And so that would be, of course, the 6 categories of tea: green tea, dark tea, white tea, and so forth. Anything that's not that we would consider to be a tisane, which is commonly colloquially called herbals. So this would be peppermint, chamomile, rose hip, whatever you like to drink. We like to call these tea. Oh, I can't wait to have my chamomile tea. It's not a tea by the strictest definition. That being said, there are benefits to drinking these drinks, and that's what this series is going to talk about. Now, there are benefits that you get from drinking tea from the Camellia sinensis plant that you would not be getting from some of the stuff we're going to talk about with the tisanes. Most of the benefits that come from the tea plant or the tea tree, because it can grow very tall when it's not being cultivated, most of those are going to be having to do with cardiovascular health and bone health. In particular, there's a lot of antioxidants that you find in the leaves of the Camellia sinensis plant. So a lot of anti-inflammatory action is going on with that tea plant. And that's one of the health benefits of drinking green tea, for example, or white tea. Is mostly going to be in that area. And of course, cognition, you think of theanine, that helps with kind of alertness. But as a whole, it's not, you don't really drink those drinks from the Camellia sinensis plant if you're having a sore throat or if you're having insomnia or so forth. And that's where you go to the tisanes. And we've talked about before in a previous episode, like, you need to be careful of claims that are made online or on Pinterest or Instagram. You know, green tea will make you lose weight, or green tea extract. You know, that was big with Dr. Oz not that long ago. And it's the same thing with herbals, because there's gonna be ingredients that you find in these things, either in the Camellia sinensis plant or let's say in cinnamon or chamomile or whatever, that studies will show may be beneficial. But to make that link from active ingredients that may be good for you to saying that that particular tisane is good for you and will make you get rid of this problem is a little specious logic, and we need to be very careful making those claims. So I think it's better to say, well, drinking echinacea tea might help with the sore throat or might help with this, but anyone who's saying if you have a fever or a sore throat and if you drink echinacea, this thing will go away, I don't really respect people who make those types of claims, because they're not necessarily backed by science, and that is more of a kind of a clickbait thing. So we just need to be very wary of it. A good example, which we won't talk about in this episode, is turmeric. Turmeric is a great root. We cut it up, we put it in food, especially in South Asia, and it has curcumin, which is an active ingredient in it that is known to be very good for fighting inflammation. It's an anti-inflammatory, so it can fight against free radical damage, it can fight against cancer and all these things. But to say that turmeric fights cancer straight out, or turmeric will cure cancer, it's a little specious. Either way, so I'm going to list off some tisanes that you can drink when you are having kind of the respiratory problem. So sore throat, mucusy stuff, common cold, and of course some of these are going to be pretty well known to you. Some of these we are going to sell. Some of these we sell like in a blend. So we'll have some of these ingredients, and some of them are pretty rare and we don't sell them at all. But look, well, there's a will, there's a way. Like linden, for example. Linden, when we were in Turkey, is a very popular tea over there. In America, linden is not that popular. That's not to say you couldn't get linden tea online, but it's not one of the more popular ones. Either way, let's get to it. I'm just going to roll these off, and I'll kind of add some anecdotal stuff to each of these. Elderberry. Some people like to drink that in a syrup. I would tell you to drink it as a tisane because it's going to have less sugar. Rosehip, which we might sell seasonally or in the store. Mint, sage, licorice root. We do sell licorice root. I think licorice root is one of the most misunderstood drinks out there, because when people think of licorice, they think of Twizzlers or the black licorice that their mom forced them to eat when they were younger. Licorice root is a very subtle thing. People chew on it, for example, and so the tisane or the brew of it is very light and it's viscous, so it really coats the throat. So if any of you have a sore throat in particular, I would tell you check out our licorice root tisane, because licorice is amazing. It really is amazing. Lemon balm, lemon verbena, mulberry leaf, robois. We sell a couple of robois blends. That's from South Africa. Tulsi. Tulsi is otherwise known as sweet basil. This is a very common ingredient that you'll find in Ayurvedic or South Asian or Indian teas, but also they're drunk in Bangladesh and Pakistan. And we do sell one all the time, Shanti, which I think has got a great taste because it does have Tulsi, but it also has fennel, which kind of has that licoricey anise taste to it, and it has mint and some other things. It's probably my favorite herbal, and I have an episode here where I talk about how great Shanti is. So that's going to be Tulsi. Tulsi is very common in South Asia. There are a lot of different types, by the way. Wild cherry bark, cinnamon. Cinnamon we sell as well. We sell it in quarter cut cinnamon. Be careful when you buy cinnamon in grocery stores, because normally it's just kind of CTC pulverized garbage. So the best thing to do is, you can buy cinnamon sticks, like organic ones, Ceylon. There's two types of cinnamon that is grown, cassia and Ceylon. Ceylon is the better one. So whether you're buying cinnamon to put on your foods, which I do quite a bit, because cinnamon, aside from helping with respiratory stuff, is also very good in controlling your blood sugar. So anyone who's pre-diabetic or diabetic, it's a good thing to have. But try to get Ceylon. Ceylon is a better variety than cassia. Also, be careful that you're not using too much cinnamon, because too much cinnamon can actually hurt your body. But it is an amazing tea, or tisane, I should say. Willow bark, chamomile. We do sell a chamomile lavender. Chamomile will show up in another episode in the future here on tisanes you can drink when you're ailing from something. Elderflower, lavender, cardamom. Cardamom is not particularly a popular tisane on its own, but is most commonly seen in masala chais or South Asian chais. It's one of the ingredients that you would find in what we call a chai tea, which literally just means tea. You also got fennel seeds, citrus peel, linden flower, dandelion root, and ginger. Dandelion root, I'm not a big fan of. It's just one of those tisanes I drink. I'm like, no. Ginger is great. We have a pu'er ginger, we have a hibiscus ginger, we have ginger's an amazing taste. It brings this kind of just this freshness, this alertness to it that some people really don't like in their foods. Another very common kind of ingredient that you find in Asia, but particularly I like ginger, and I can even drink just ginger cut up and decocted or put in a hot water and drink that fluid. But typically, I think most people who drink ginger will do lemon ginger. And remember, when you buy ginger ale, that doesn't have ginger anymore. That's just high fructose corn syrup mimicking the ginger taste. Back in the day, ginger is going to show up later on, because ginger is another great thing for ginger is digestive health. But today, like in the old days, we would actually put ginger in ginger ale or gingerbread cookies. People would eat it for the digestive health. But most often than not, when you buy these kind of things like gingerbread cookies, or you're buying certain brands of well-known ginger ale, they don't have ginger anymore. So that's a list of things that you should really drink when you are feeling down with a cough and a cold. I would tell you some of these are more famous than others. You also will find certain blends that are really, really great, especially if you have a sore throat. Anything that's got something like a menthol feeling to it, so that could be something that's got fennel in it or something that's got licorice, is really soothing to the throat. So you will find some of those blends that might be like sore throat blend or something like that. So look for those ingredients, but all these are really, really good. And remember, all these are not caffeinated. Guys, post in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, take care and God bless.